coming on, and we're so pleased to have you. Would you like to go ahead, Marge, and begin by telling us who are some of these souls that you've been inspired by?
Life is a journey, and in this journey, we had the privilege of every one of us have the privilege of meeting people who make a change in our life or have a deep impact in our life, maybe sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. These spiritual people particularly, their impact works on, as in the Bhakti Sutra Narada says, Satsangastu Durlabha. Satsanga, holy company in life, is difficult to attain, difficult to have, and if it has, then its impact is deep, agamma, durlabha, agamya, and amogha. It will work. Those who are ready in their life, it works instantly. Those of us who are not that much ready, this impact will be there, but it will happen in time, maybe in long years to come. So we are fortunate that we are living in a time period when it is not too far away from Sri Ramakrishna's dynamic presence through his disciples, those who lived the other day, we can say, and their disciples who got inspired to live their life of dedication. And they themselves became the spiritual dynamos. We have the opportunity in that way to see some of the Swamis. So I will talk about them. Being very fortunate, I do not know anything. First, I came to Belur Math when with some of our elderly guides, and went to Belur Math and saw first, when I was maybe very young. Young means very young. Maybe 5th grade boy or something like that. Have no idea, sadhu and this and that. But then I went and saw that in the temple we went and we found that there is a statue of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna in the Murti. And after having sitting there and offering our pranam, went to other temples, and then our guide took us to the President Swami. And the President Swami was Swamishankarananda. He was a great personality. He's very calm, very serene, grand looking, as if so calm that he does not move right or left as it were. So when I went and I saw, and his complexion was very fair. In my childhood impression, I thought that I was astonished to see, and I saluted. Everyone is saluting. I also saluted. Out of nervousness, I didn't go in front. I was from a corner in the backside. I did pranam, but I didn't face-to-face pranam or looking at him. I didn't do that. Then I came out and I was astonished, and I asked, what is this statue? It looks like a statue as we saw in Ramakrishna statue, and here is another statue. Then those people who are with me, they said, you fool, you don't understand. He is the president of the order. His name is Swamishankarananda. And he is the Raja Maharaj's disciple. It's a grand personality. And that was my first looking at Swamishankarananda Maharaj, which was that early age. And then it happened that I used to stay during my college education time, a part of Belur Math, and had the opportunity to go to Belur Math now and then. And then when we used to go, then we have the opportunity to do pranam. So now everyone says to initiation will be very good. By that time, I was maybe 20, around 19, 20 years old. And then I was also inspired by other sadhus. By that time, I came to know other swamis, and they said you should try for initiation from Swamishankarananda Maharaja. So, but how shall I introduce myself? Who will listen to me? So as ultimately I got to know Swami Vimuktanandaji, who was Holy Mother's disciple and head of the Sarada Pit, which is outside the Belur Math. And that Swami was anyhow known to my elder brother, and that he introduced, and he was very happy to hear that I am interested in it, and he wrote a recommendation letter, and that I gave it to the press secretary of the Shankarananda Maharaj, President Maharaj. In between, so many years have passed. Now, that when I went to go to have everyday darshan and pranam in the evening, and when recommendation was given by him, and then you need your father's approval or guardian, is that all this, because I'm only 18 or 19. So then I collected all those things, and then I gave it to the secretary of Shankarananda Maharaj, the Suparnananda Maharaj. He was old Suparnananda Swami, and that Swami was very sweet, but very like Shankarananda Maharaj's private secretary. So he very difficult to approach also. Grave and great personality. Then I saluted and I said, Swami, I want to have some initiation from this. And then he said that, oh, initiation, huh? Anyone trying to get mantra? What do you know? Did you read gospel? Did you read anything? I said, no, Maharaj, I read gospel, but a little, not totally completed the page, cover to cover. Like that. Then anyhow, he, after scolding me, that was the first boon. After scolding some time, then he took my prayer application and then said, hey, come. After the evening is done, see me afterwards. That means after 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So afterwards, I came after the evening prayer in the temple and then came back. And he said, oh, yes, Maharaj said that he noticed you. But you are a young boy. Why are you trying now? Swami says, you wait. And asked you to read the gospel. So I thought, okay, to read the gospel. Well, you are a college boy, student, so you need not have to read 5 volumes. You read 3 volumes. 1, 2, 3. So listening that, and I then even absented myself from my classes in the college, and then started reading gospels all the time, day and night, this way to finish the 3 volumes. And naturally, after some days, within 2 weeks, 3 volumes of gospel we have finished and reading actually. So then I came back and I saluted again to the Swami Suparnanandaji and said, by that time I'm every day coming to see the have darshan of Maharaj and doing pranam and going back. And then ultimately he said, okay, now what's the matter? Why are you here? Maharaj, you told me. So I finished my reading the gospel. Huh? You read 3 volumes, you finished your gospel reading? He says, you boys, you want to see movie, you go to movie. Mind says, okay, let me see movie. And you want to read novel, go on reading novel. And you read gospel like that? How can you do that? Then he said, no, there is one professor of Jadavpur University. He is asking for initiation. And Maharaj is said one time, you read the 5 volumes of gospel. He has read after months, 1 month or so, or 2 months, and then he come back. Then Maharaj said, ask him to read again. And you within 10, 15 days you have finished and you come to get initiation. And I was very humble and I was very timid. Though seeing my face and other things, he felt compassion. Then he said again, okay, come after evening prayer. So I went after evening prayer. And then he said that, oh, Maharaj was not agreeing. You are fortunate. Maharaj has agreed to give you initiation. But you know, I have to do so much work for you. Yeah, but then I foolishly said, yes, Maharaj, you have to do something for so much. And so much I, instead of saying foolishly, I said, you have to do ektu. আমার জন্য একটু বলতে হয়েছে একটু I said that you have to say a little for me. You nonsense, you stupid. You say, I did it for you, ektu, small, little. You in your letter, you have not written that you know Ramakrishna Math, you know you are familiar with the sadhus, and you are coming to Math, and you read the gospel before, not serially. Did you say all these things? I don't know, Maharaj, no, Maharaj, no, Maharaj. And then he become pleased. Okay, now Maharaj has agreed, so you will be notified later on. And that was the way I got the chance to have initiation with him. By that time, Swami's health was very frail. I have not any opportunity in my life to have any direct question one-on-one, but I wrote a letter and he responded to that. And it was very practical. I posted the letter and that letter was missed. That because one of the Swami, Harinamananda, no Swami Akuntananda, the Swami was looking after all the mails, thinking that Swami Shankarananda's load will increase to respond my letter also. He tore up that letter and threw away. He didn't encourage that people should bother President Maharaj at that age with all these questions. Anyhow, but I again went to Suparnananda Maharaj, and Suparnananda Maharaj, oh, you wrote, but I didn't get it. Okay, you write it and give it to me. So in front of him, I wrote a letter, and that was an inland letter. Inland letter was used, and I put gum in such a way that no one can open it. And then when that letter response came from President Maharaj, he said that it is not necessary that you see me every day, but if you grow in love for Thakur, then your life will be fulfilled. And you need not have to think that you are not serving me. The service to Thakur is your service. And then Puna, again, P.S. You have added so much gum that the letter was torn. That was the lesson, that how to give just even an ordinary thing. Putting some gum in a letter should be perfectly done. And that he pointed out and said that this is, you have to be careful about. And then that was the way, and then initiation time came, and that Swami was very sick that time. He could not go to the temple even, but his initiation was in his room. That room was Swami Vivekananda's room in Belur Math, where Swamiji lived. Next room is the president's room. And then it was a grand experience to have in presence. Being in his presence, you feel awed and with reverence, and your mind becomes very, very uplifted. So after that, one day, as you know, after initiation, salutation, every day going for some pranami, but some questions come, and I thought that I will ask one-on-one. But how to approach? No one will give me any opportunity to go to him, and I will also be nervous. If I go to put any question, it will be difficult. But anyhow, it was a rainy day in the night, rainy evening. All devotees came in. They used to all stand in line one by one. So I tried every time, but somebody comes behind me. So my mission was failing. First day, second day, third day, I planned I will be the last. So whoever comes, I go behind him in the line. And afterwards, I went to the last person, and that day everyone is gone. I saw that anyone is behind me, no. So I am the last person. So I went at the back of everyone, and everyone gone. And Maharaj is sitting in his chair with his in a chair, and grand looking, calm and serene. And then normally he does not like that you prostrate with whole body. Then he will say, hey, what? Stop. That means he does not like that you're too much bhakti, show of bhakti. So, but that time I didn't think of anything. I lay prostration and he was sitting just at the threshold of the door, just inside, and I was outside. And he will not allow anybody to touch the feet because he has some sensitivity in the skin. So always, I never touched his feet all the initiated devotees also could not touch them. Anyhow, singles, he was suffering from singles, so touch is very sensitive. Anyhow, so that is, then what happened when I saluted and I thought that now I shall raise my head and then Sarpud Maharaj, what is my question? I forgot now. So, but that is the spiritual power of the great people. So I saluted and then I raised my eyes, and he was looking at me, and his eyes were big eyes, and just look, eyes to eyes. And as soon as I saw his two eyes and the face, I do not know, as if something is sucked out of me, as it were. That was my personal feeling. And no question, I felt a great relief from my heart, and my question is solved. I need not have to put any question anymore. That's why that pranam and he looking at him and his glance solved the problems what I was being bothered for so many days to put that question. I was making a plan to be the last person. But without putting the question, there is this spiritual people can do by a glance can take away our all questions solved. The solution, heart becomes full of joy. That was the first experience I got it from Shankarananda Maharaj. Of course, that was the last experience. But Shankarananda Maharaj was there, as if you can understand, when he is in the balloon mart, you can feel the presence. There is some extraordinary presence in the whole balloon mart. You enter, and every one of the other monks are very serious about the movement and their duties and other things. So this Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, I saw him many occasions I saw him, but I have never any chance. And he was the 7th president of our Ramakrishna order. And I saw him that in a Durga Puja, the big festivity goes on days and days. At the Durga Puja, you know that balloon mart, the mother's image is being carried. And that time, the puja was done in the main temple. Now it is done in the outside because of the number of people, so many people. So they bring the mother's image and to show President Maharaj, and so they carry the entire mother's image close to the Swamiji's house where Swamiji lived, and then turn the mother's total image facing so that Maharaj can see the Mother Durga. And we saw it is a beautiful scene to see. He came silently on that side where Mother Durga is in the pandal area. Now the pandal area, big pandal area, there people are carrying. I also was holding one bamboo piece. So because I was a volunteer at that time. And then to turn the mother's image so that Maharaj can see the mother's total image. And after sometimes he was doing like that pranam. And after sometimes with so sincerely he was observing. Everyone is standing in awe to see that. It is evening time with hazak light and other light. Not electric light was not that much. Arrangement was not that time. So Maharaj also looking like that to mother and pranaming, and afterwards just turned like that and showed like that, and then they Jai Durga Mai ki Jai, and they turned the mother's image and went back to mother's temple, Holy Mother's temple, and then Visarjan. So it is a personality, and it's a divine personality, and you can feel the presence even. And I was given, Suparnananda Maharaj, after my initiation, gave me a job. Will you do some Guru Seva? I said, yes, Maharaj, what can I do? I thought that he will ask me to go to his room and do something. Oma, he said, can you do one thing? You know, then on weekends, the Saturday cannot tolerate any noise. Because of his singles, any sound bothers him very much. But people from all over India comes and they go to see Swamiji's room with the articles, what is there. So when they go, they naturally chatter, chatter, chatter. So can you come on Sunday? Your duty will be, you come as soon as the Belur Math gate opens and stand here, and only you tell anyone coming there, don't talk, don't talk, don't talk. And you don't say don't talk. You only, So I thought, oh my God, this is a Guru service. It's very difficult Guru service. I will not be able to see Guru, and Guru will not be able to see me. Or I'm doing something. I will want some recognition. No, I'm doing something, but he will not know even what I'm doing. But that was my duty. Till Swamiji passed away and I was there every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I used to go there, and then that was my duty, to make everyone stop, 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 don't talk, don't talk, don't talk. So this is and also I found one day, actually he notices. One day in the morning time, that was maybe 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and there is a railing. I can lean over that and can see there is a door was open, which facing the big courtyard. Not the inner courtyard, but the courtyard towards the mother's temple. So I saw that day, it was also a great darshan, I will say. I was leaning like a child, leaning on the bar towards Swami's room. And his room door was open, and there is a curtain. Curtain was little removed. And I saw that he sat for morning after taking shower and everything. He is sitting for meditation. And he was going to sit for meditation, close the eyes. And when I leaned like that, I found him that he's looking at me. So that's what his grace was. I think that way I used to feel that he is looking at that. But it is difficult type of Guru Seva. Though that is Swamishankarananda Maharaj. Actually, these are the rare pictures, because Shankarananda Maharaj has seen Swami Vivekananda also for a glance. He didn't get a chance to talk, but he was the private secretary of Swami Brahmananda Maharaj. Very, and at least I was this much opportunity to see him. Already much time is gone.
Yes, it's wonderful. So let's go on to the next Swami.
Next Swami. Now I'll think of Swami. Next Swami is Swami Vishuddhananda Maharaj. He was the 8th president. Shankarananda Maharaj was the 7th next president. So when he was the next president, 8th president, so he was not willing. When he was after the passing away of Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, the trustees of the Belur Math requested Swami Vishuddhananda ji, but he said no. He was not agreeing to come. But anyhow, afterwards he agreed. And when he came to Belur Math, he was entering in his room, the president's room, where Shankarananda Maharaj stayed. He entered into that room. That very day of his coming into that room, Swami Abjojananda, he took me and he introduced me with Swami Vishuddhananda ji. Vishuddhananda Maharaj was Holy Mother's disciple, and this Holy Mother gave sannyas to 3 people, Shantananda, Vishuddhananda and Girija Maharaj. So he is very much loved by Holy Mother and was a wonderful, sweet, spiritual personality. So when the Swami introduced me, that this boy was initiated by Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, bless him, Swami Abjojananda said. And then Vishuddhananda Swami patted me on my back and said, "You boy, okay. So could you tell me what is called Guru Seva?" I was a young boy, how much I know. But spontaneously it came to my mind, because we have read and heard something, to follow the instruction of the spiritual teacher. I said, "Maharaj, that may be the Guru Seva." Well, yes, Guru is no more in the physical body. And even if he is there, not serving him personally is the only Seva. Rather, to carry on his instructions and to spiritualize your life, that is Guru Seva. And then he said, "You are fortunate that you got initiation from Maharaj, but try to utilize it, young boy. You should be leaning on to this idea of making it practical in your life." So he gave profuse blessings that day. And then onward, he used to live there. And every day it was his style that he will be in the baranda, Swami Vivekananda's baranda, that which is on the Ganges side of Swamiji's room. Those who have visited Belur Math, you can know the old Belur Math. Swamiji's room, and parallel to the Ganga, there is the one baranda. And in that baranda, every afternoon, Swami Vishuddhanandaji will sit in one corner on the one end, and devotees will come, salute, and sit. And he will be constantly talking about Gospel of Ramakrishna, the meaning of life, purpose of life, and if anyone had any question. I was a young boy, so I have not many questions. That was my foolishness also. Not that inquisitiveness was there to have courage also to put my many questions. Anyhow, so I had the opportunity to sit at the feet of Maharaj again and again many times. And what still rings in my mind, that he will be giving the gospel, talking about, he will ask that all questions are solved in the Gospel of Ramakrishna. So read the Gospel of Ramakrishna, you will get everything. And then he used to say, some used to say, "Can you say what is the cream of the Gospel's teachings?" He used to say 3 words: Dub dao, jhap dao, egiye poda. Dive deep, dub dao, jump, dive, and go forward. That means plunge yourself in the spiritual lessons and teachings. Dub dao, dive deep, jump, don't hesitate, don't wait. Life is short. And then jump, and then dive deep, don't float on the surface. And move on till you reach the goal. And he used to emphasize every day on sadhana, spiritual practice, spiritual practice, spiritual practice. And he used to refer to Maharaj and other experiences of what he has got. So that was another Swami. I had not good memory. I could have kept so much notes maybe, but I could not. That was my foolishness. But now I repent. But at least I had the privilege of sitting at the feet of this Vishuddhananda Swamiji for a long days and months and months. But he has his health problem came, and he passed away shortly. That's why he was not as president for a longer period. He has some health issues, and he passed away.
Maharaj, let me ask you a question here. So you just said that Swamiji said all questions are solved in the gospel. Okay. So if a person is having some conflicts in their life, when they, like all of us do at some time, especially nowadays, if we're having some difficulties, are you saying then what should we do then? You're saying all questions are solved in the gospel. Should we ask something and then turn to a page and read, and will the answer come to us?
Yeah.
What should we do when we're in this crisis or difficulties that are that occurred to us.
Yeah, that is true. As I say, if someone believes this way, then yes, they just open the page of gospel, it turns, and the solution comes over there. You know the story of Poltu. Poltu was Ramakrishna's disciple. Eh? Purno, drowning. He was going to drown himself. So, Purno or Poltu, they said, forgive me by the names. He was really totally upset and he was going to drown. And that's just before going to drown in the Ganges, commit this life to end. And then just he said, okay, because Ramakrishna, he has some type of feeling that Ramakrishna is not carrying him or something like that, because he saw Ramakrishna. So he was going to drown himself and kill himself. And that story you also know probably, that he said before he's going to commit that suicide or drowning himself in the Ganges, he just opened the page of gospel. And the page of gospel opened, there is a Ramakrishna is thinking about Poltu. And that stopped his life. And I have heard from many devotees also that when any question comes, probably they open like that, as if reading something, he got the response. If we believe them, they are holy people. They have tested with themselves in their life, Vishuddhananda Maharaj. And also their experience of life, they are initiating Guru for a long time. So they have probably, with their experience, they are telling. If one sincerely searches for the response, the gospel can give the response. Swamishankarananda Maharaja, if you go for any question, he will say, read gospel. He will not say any, very rarely he gave advice and instruction. You go to any question, first of all, you will not be able to put the question. He's such a big personality. But at the same time, when you say something, Swami Uma Ananda, who passed away, he was a singer Swami in Belur Swami, he used to pakwas and song. It was gone when at his old age, but he was very liked by others for his musical voice. Senior to Ramesh Maharaj and others. So he said that he came to Shankarananda Maharaj. He met him first, before joining. He was telling his story. Then he said, Maharaj, give me some advice. I want to be a monk. And he said, oh, you want to be a monk? Go, read gospel. That's all. His formula was. And Vishuddhananda Maharaj was also very much a fan of suggesting to read the gospel.
So then you're saying that in one sense that God will speak through. God will speak through the gospel.
Yeah,
you
right.
To answer your problem.
Yeah.
It seems like with Swamishankarananda Maharaj, being his present, you said problem was not solved, problem was dissolved. The problem didn't exist anymore.
Right, exactly.
And another method you're saying is, if you have a problem, open. Should we pray to God and then open the book? What is the method? What's the best way to do this, Maharaj?
I do not know. I have heard that just simply say they every day there is a habit of reading the gospel. So you read and open it and you see, wow, this is the direction for me. But prayer should be the major thing. Of course, we are not always so much devoted and we have no so much conviction, but we can do this to our sadhus, senior sadhus, we can put questions. But the real solution will come from within. That's the point. And Sri Ramakrishna, if we believe God, he listens to everyone's prayers and sincere calling. So now I'll
go to the third Swami, next Swami.
Next Swami, Swamishankarananda Maharaj. He was also Holy Mother's disciple. He was one of the most respected Swami for a long time. He was asked to be the president of the order many times, interim period, but he didn't agree. His health condition was also not good, but you have heard many stories from Swami Santo Sarupananda. He had the opportunity. We are college students that time. Santo Sarupananda Swami was also Vidyamandir college student that time, and he used to go to Belur Math, and that got much opportunity being in a hostel of Belur and coming to Maharaj. He used to read the Gospel of Ramakrishna in before him, and we used to go occasionally. But we are not like Vidyamandir college students. We are from outside, but young boy, so we used to go and sit sometimes. As you have heard that Shankarananda Maharaj used to, Santananda Maharaj, as I mentioned, that Santananda Maharaj, yes, Santananda Maharaj is a, you can see, look at the face, like a simple child, innocent child, and full of spiritual fervor, no? As if beaming with, and see the simple dress, things, but if you go there, you can feel that room is charged with. He used to live across Swami Vivekananda's temple, where is the two-story temple, Omkara, and he used to live opposite of that house in the ground floor. That room was very not well maintained. So it was sand and things are old. The plaster is falling down, but the attendants took care of that, and Maharaj used to live there. So we used to go and visit Santanandaji, and then we sometimes sit when reading is going on. As Swami Shantananda, Santa Swarupananda told you, that while reading, as if you see that Maharaj is sleeping or almost not listening anything. But if you make a mistake, immediately Shantanandaji will say, what did you read? And he will correct that. He has read gospel in such a way, such a depth, that he will correct the misreading of Santa Rupananda. And one thing what I had my direct experience, that I went one day in the morning time, that was maybe in the early, around 9 o'clock or 9:30 in the morning or 10 o'clock. And the Belur Math in those days, I'm talking about, it is 1960, 61, like that period. And that time, people were very few in number in the morning time, of course. And there are only the birds are chirping, the crows are cracking. And that was the only silence everywhere. And I entered, finding nobody in the room. I went and saluted with the Bhumishta pranam, and I stood. And he, like a child, extended his hand towards me. So I was afraid to touch him, because his assistant, his sevaks are there. If they see that I am touching him, then I will have a good scolding, and they will not allow me to come again. So I, from a distance, I saluted like this, and then he said, come. Then he came close, and he said, okay, do you hear? I said, I only hearing some birds chirping outside and no other voice. And then he himself said, don't you hear? The Anahata Om going on all the time. Don't you hear? He was constantly in that realm where he's listening to Omkar, Anahata Dhani, Baje Tatha Anahata Dhani Tabu Bani. Swamiji says, there always flows that unstruck sound, Anahata Dhani, Baje Tatha Anahata Dhani. And that is your Bani, that's your message. That is God's message. God must manifest it to the Omkara. So that he lives in that constant awareness. So that was the type of some person, Swami Shantanandaji. Even Bireshwarananda Maharaj and others used to come and salute him. So he was so much respected, and he was this dynamo of spirituality. Swami Sridharananda Swami spoke much about Swami Shantanandaji's association with him. So we are only got a little chance to go close, and but that one experience is still vibrant in my mind, that how he is giving an indication that you don't hear. It is spontaneous. He is listening all the time. So this is the question. Doubts go away. At least if we see such people are talking with such simplicity and conviction, that don't you hear? It's continuously going on. Oh, like that. and in the silence of Belur Math, that he is living in that awareness. So that was Swami Shantananda Maharaj. Then Premesananda Maharaj was another Holy Mother's disciple. I had the opportunity after my college education, a BA degree, BSc. Not degree is over, but I just finished my BSc, and then I was planning to go to some uh, visit to Darjeeling, to see some scenic beauty, and my ticket was purchased and this and that. The Swami, who actually mentored my life, and I'm greatly devoted and really thankful to that Swami, that is Swami of Jojananda. He suddenly one day tell me, well, Acha, your examination is over. What are you going to do now? Then I said, no, Maharaj, I have planned to go. 1 month is there, so I'll go and go to Darjeeling, have a visit and this vacation. Then he said, no, cancel that. What will you go to see something in Darjeeling? What is there in Darjeeling? There's the scenic beauty. You can see any time. But you go to Premesananda Maharaj. But he used to speak about Premesananda Maharaj all the time. Whenever I used to visit him very frequently. And his spirituality, how mother used to love him, and how he has influenced so many Swamis of our order, and actually so many great Swamis who are very much honored in the whole order has come out of his. Swami Sahananda Maharaj, say our Sarodeshananda Maharaj, Santosarupananda Maharaj, like many of our big, great Swamis whom we think that they have spiritually uplifted and attained Swamis, they have this. So I said that, you go and serve the Swami. Yeah. And you make a plan, you go. Then I said, oh my God. As a young man, you can think that you're planning to go to have some experience of Darjeeling, to have some vacation there, fun. And now he's sending me to an old guy who will not be. You can see how that old Swami, his face is like that. But that time he was really lying down in the bed. He has really not very. But anyhow, I didn't see him even. But he said, okay, you could go. And that time, our present Vice President Maharaj, Swami Shuitanandaji, he was taking care of Swami Premesananda Maharaj. Anyhow, I agreed, and I 50-50. That was my foolishness. 50 days I curtailed from my vacation. I could have curtailed the whole month, but my foolishness, young age, it is not good attraction for other things. So that 15 days I went and stayed with him and served him. That was another experience, wonderful experience. And Swami Shuitanandaji Maharaj, that he was Sanatan Maharaj, he is doing everything, but still we are assisting him but he will be having some physical difficulties in itching all the time, allergy. If the sky become clouded, allergy starts and he will be. And so we have to rub slowly, softly. His skin is so soft. Like that, whatever service we did. But that was a great experience. So one time, before he coming back, I didn't feel much. I stayed with him and just did what we can be around him, serving him. But when I was coming back, I suddenly felt a little big attachment for him. And he's simple, and what he spoke, I forgot all this now. But when I was coming, he was saying that you are going to Belur Math. You go and offer my Om Namo Narayanaya to whom? To Swamiji's disciple, living disciple. What is his name? Swamiji's living disciple, Brahmachari Jnana Maharaj. Jnana Maharaj. So Jnana Maharaj is still there, and he said, go and offer my pranam and say Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. He said pranam means pranam. He didn't say how, but I meant that I will touch his feet. Anyhow, so that was the thing he said, and he lives there and tell him. And also, you go and tell uh, Thakur in the temple. He is there. You tell him that this old man is suffering so much. He has sent message to me that you please take him away quickly. I said, what, how can I say? Can I say that you die? We don't want to do that. Maybe you are suffering, but it is our fortune that we can see you. Anyhow, so he came back, and that created a deep tie with Premishananda Maharaj. I felt, now even I feel, that what a blessed opportunity to be with him. And then he remained like that in my life till now. So then I came to Belur Math, and then I said, Maharaj, no, I cannot say that. Then he said, why not? You love me. Do you see that you love me and I will suffer like this? Can't you do that? As if he's pleading me. I thought it is a joke. No. A senior Swami talking to Belur Math, Thakur is there. As if Belur Math is not there we will bring Vedanta, no? Our Vedanta will teach us wrongly. Thakur is not there in Sargachi. Sargachi Thakur got Akhandananda Swami stayed here and all these things, and he's saying, go to Belur Math Thakur. See the indication. Belur Math is a special place where Sri Ramakrishna is living presence. He is imprinting that idea to me. And then when I said no, and then he bargained, and he said, if I don't go early, then who will make place? Who will make some advanced position for you when you will come later on? I said, what will you do? He said, I will tell when you come, when your time will come, then I will tell mother, this boy has come. So open the door for him. Oh my God. I thought this is joking words, but this is not a joke. From the whatever, I hope for that mother opens the door. Anyhow, so this is a great statement. And then I came back, and then I got a scolding from Gyan Maharaj, of course, because I didn't know that he does not want anyone's touch. We cannot touch his feet. You have to go and salute like this and say, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. Then he will say, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. Then when you say Ramakrishna, then you have to say, Swami Premishananda Maharaj has sent Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna to you. But I touched him, and he got so annoyed. And then I said, Maharaj, I do not know, please forgive me, but Premishananda Maharaj has sent this Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna to you. Then he cooled down a little bit. And then also, of course, I visited him many times, Gyan Maharaj also. Now, the Premishananda Maharaj, I have another opportunity. When he came from Sargachi, he had to come because of his eye operation in medical college and cataract operation. So he came. And that time it was much easier because we are in Calcutta and nearby area. So we used to go to assist to serve Swamiji, whatever we can. And with our Suhitanandaji Maharaj was still taking care of the Swami, and he took care of Swami's health and Swami till the end. So, we are also known to each other, and then we are close to some. Then we one day asked about Maharaj. When after your cataract operation is over, so we will go with you to Dakshineshwar. So that with you going to Dakshineshwar is a different thing. But Premis Maharaj said, no, I don't want to go to Dakshineshwar. Well, why? Well, we have our Dakshineshwar, imaginary Dakshineshwar, when I first visited, when Ramlal Dada took me to show around. Master Mosai was there like that. Those I want to live in that Dakshineshwar, not this changed Dakshineshwar. As it was in Ramakrishna's time, say that Dakshineshwar I want to go. And then after some time, when some cataract operation was done, it was decided that he will stay in Benares. And when he was in the Benares hospital, Sevashram, Swamiji lived there. And by that time, my life also turned differently with the inspiration of my mentor, Swami. So that is a different story. I will not say now. So I had to join the order. Had to join means I didn't come out of my own, but I was pulled into it, and then said, "Okay, go on, stay on. Why not? Why not?" Like that. And after some times, that Swami planning to send me to Vrindavan, where Swami Sharodeshananda lives. So the Swami thought that it will be very good if I stay with such an exalted Swami like Sharodeshananda, who was the private secretary of Holy Mother, writing many letters of Swami Mother and served Mother for a longer period in Jairambati. And that Swami was still alive in Vrindavan. So I was to go to Vrindavan, but as I was going, I dropped at in between, make a stopover at Benares. And when I went to Benares, that was a cold period. I have no idea. I'm going from Calcutta, and Benares, I have no idea. I have no very warm clothing much because I just went with a rolling bag. And then I went from the station to Kauri Hospital. It is called Kauri Hospital. That means the Sevashram, local rickshaw pullers, they know by the name Kauri Hospital. That means our Ramakrishna Mission Sevashram, Benares. And then I went there, and he dropped me on the door at the main gate, huge gate. I am standing outside, and who will open for me? It is around 3:30. And then I stood there, and suddenly around 4 o'clock or around that time, I saw one Swami or somebody coming from a long distance stretch. I can see coming towards this end, towards the gate, not to the gate, but there is the Sevashram and Advaitashram temple. There is a temple where sadhus come and meditate. So suddenly I found that our Sanatan Maharaj, Swami Sritanandaji, present Swami Sritanandaji Maharaj, he was coming and towards the temple for meditation with his cushion in his armpit, and I shouted in Bengali, I am here. And he got really surprised without any notice how I am there in that condition. And he moved forward and came to the gate and make the guard to open the gate. And then I entered. I said, why? What is this? You come without any notice, and this time? I said, Maharaj, this has happened. So I have joined, or I have been taken to the order, whatever may be. Yes. And then I'm going to Vrindavan. On the way, I want to visit for 3, 4, 5 days and stay. And he immediately gave up his own temple meditation and took me. And I went to the room where Swami Premishananda is lying in the bed. He was so weak and sick, but his mind was so alert. And as soon as we entered, then Premishananda, Maharaj, Suhitanandaji Maharaj said that this boy, Maharaj, he called me by earlier name, that he has come. And he is with this purpose, and he has become like this. I will stay with Sarodeshananda Swami. So then he said, oh, is it? Come. And he asked me to come very close to him. He was lying down, but came, and he said, bring a flashlight. So the Suhitanandaji then brought a flashlight and put it on the face. I do not know why they are doing all these things, putting on the face and flashlight, and then looking at that. I do not know. He didn't express anything, but like a mother touching over the head and touching everything, like a affectionate mother, endearingly calling. So that's a great memory for me. Even I can feel the touch. So that was the thing, and blessings at the beginning of this monastic life. So I think time is up.
So then, then you continue on. Then you went to Vrindavan.
Huh?
So
then let me finish this talk. Then I stayed there for 7 days, and Maharaj was taking everyday care for me. And go to Tilbhandeswar, go to this Atma Vireshwar, so you see this, see that, organizing being in the bed. And all, after that, I used to spend most of the time with him. He used to go for a walk in a what we call the wheelchair. So those days we call perambulator. Is to push that perambulator around this ashrama and then come back for afternoon and then to his back. So that was 7 days. It was a blessed 7 days passed that way. And then I went from there to Vrindavan and stayed there for a month or so. And then there was another exemplary life, Sarvadeshananda Swami. He's very reserved, but you can see a life were totally dedicated to God. This is, see, very humble, brain is so active, and he is concerned about the modern development in all the centers of Ramakrishna Mission. He knows what is going on in education system. He used to give wonderful suggestions for every center to flourish in the way of Ramakrishna ideal, in the Ramakrishna ideal. And I saw a great austere Swami. He used to live very simply. He used to come for lunch. There's only one bowl. There are so many items you have to serve in that bowl. This bowl finished, you put whatever you have, rice, dal, spinach, whatever. No question of taste. Whatever is coming, just put it, and that is bowl is finished. That means his lunch is over. And he continued for his whole life. And also, he was an inspiration for regularity in meditation, regularity in practice of spiritual discipline. And he was very serious that don't go to a center and become a burden to them. Because most of the people who they come, I'm late for breakfast, I'm late for lunch. Oh, I didn't go for class because of this camp. No, he was very rigid on all those principles. And also, he as a wastage, he could not tolerate even a little wastage of little 1 cup of water. So we learned so much, and spirituality, of course, there is, and you can feel. And I was not intelligent enough to ask many questions about mother, but there you can find that there is one book has come out, his attendant, what he has written beautiful in Bengali, and it is also in English translated. I made reminiscences of Swami Sarvadeshananda Swami. And Sarvadeshananda Swami wrote that book on Holy Mother. And he also wrote, he told this much, that he wrote so many letters of Holy Mother. And when he used to write, Mother used to say something, dictate, and he used to note down the letter. And also he used to keep a copy of that. And that keeping the copy was a treasure house. But when Holy Mother passed away, he told me that I got so much renunciation in the mind. Arey, mother is gone. What shall we do with this? What shall we do with Sarvadeshananda Vrindavan? Wonderful photo. Wow. What shall I do with all these notes, all these letters? It is useless. And I got such renunciation, threw away everything into the Ganges. What a treasure we have lost from those notes, what he kept for. Notes means important letters, and that was noted there, and the diary he threw away. And also he wrote many books also. His book, greatest book is Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Dev. That is a historic, wonderful book, authentic book on Sri Chaitanya. After, I would say, in a Ramakrishna tradition, that is the only book which is Chaitanya Charitamrita, another authentic book. That is the next book. So sorry, now after staying 1 month, then he came back to Berlin. Okay, so this part is now, your time is up, 7:10.
What we'll do is we'll continue with a part 2 series. So Martin, let me ask you one question here. The question is that it seems that spirituality is coming in so many varieties of ways. So Swami Shankarananda Maharaja described him as more of a grave personality. And in his presence, that your mind, you said, like you were saying that you felt uplifted in his presence. Your problems were solved but dissolved in one sense, like a fatherly figure. Then you have in the presence of Swami Swamishankarananda, you said he treated you like a mother, very loving, very kind, very sweet, and he's touching your face and just caressing you with the motherly sweetness. And then you're saying with Swami Gopesh Maharaj, Swami Sarveshananji, how he exemplified renunciation, very ascetic type. So, Mark, these are so many different personalities, but what are there some common characteristics that you see amongst all these spiritual personalities that you've met? And if so, then second is how has it influenced your own spiritual life? So let me first ask you first question. What are the common characteristics that you start to see amongst all these great souls?
I think that is their love for Sri Ramakrishna, love for this order, love for this whole organization and its monks, monastics, and devotees, because they feel that it is Sri Ramakrishna's bodies. So their love flows spontaneously. Core point, whatever may be difference, one may be Vedantic approach more, one may be harmonious approach like Swami Premishananda always used to talk about the harmony of all yogas to practice in life. And say austere side, they say Gopesh Maharaj used to emphasize on austerity, others luxury will come and this and that. But the key point is Sri Ramakrishna. Key point is Holy Mother. Your Advaita Vedanta is the philosophy ground, but concretized Advaita is Sri Ramakrishna, his Holy Mother, and his mission, his people, his own people. They're the parts of the whole. So I think that is the common ground on which all of them, as I understood, they are holding on to that. There is no distinction, difference. Austerity for Ramakrishna. Austerity of that all inwardness for Ramakrishna. To show each one is temperamentally different. To show that this whole order is a complexity of different characters, but all are centered around one central theme, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, and their ultimate Vedantic Ramakrishna. The ground is Advaita, not a cultist Ramakrishna. Many people may have even developed some cultist idea. Ramakrishna is the one great sage, great avatar over than others. No, not from that perspective. As the very embodiment, avatar, but is the embodiment of all inclusive Sri Ramakrishna. I think that idea is manifested in them. The whole world, you can feel with them. The whole world is, they used to inject in your mind, that whole world is your own, because you have to see the whole world as Ramakrishna's manifestation. That is their life teaches us.
And Martin, what would you say then? What do they bring into your own life? How have they inspired you?
Yeah, that is the thing, as how much we can absorb. It is the question. They gave so much. I do not know. We are a mixture of what we are, as Swamiji said, that you plant a seed, and you give whatever fertilizer, water, and everything. The tree grows in his own way, but it absorbs from all of them. So consciously or unconsciously, we absorb this idea, that idea, consciously sometimes, unconsciously. So consciously, as I say, Swami Gopesh Maharaj, he used to say that be knowledgeable, watch what is going on, contribute positively to the Sangha, and keep this broad philosophy of the Sangha. Never pull down to doctrine. Sometimes we may be sometimes wrongly representing Ramakrishna if we say Ramakrishna is the only way. Yeah, Ramakrishna is the only, which Ramakrishna you are talking about? You have to define that Ramakrishna. Otherwise it becomes fanatic, another fanatic religion. So that type of idea, I think that has come in my life. I think that is the most influence probably. Anyone belonging to any uh, tradition, we used to criticize. We are better than them. They are doing this, that wrong. They are very. We may talk sometimes, but that does not enter inside. You know, Ramakrishna said everyone is a path. Everyone is moving according to their taste and temperament. So I think what I learned out of them, at least that has been their grace. To I think that every path, maybe there is some pure path, impure path. No, spiritual practices we hear, there are so many. But before that, I was also very critic about them. But now, internally, I think that I have nothing to criticize. Ramakrishna said, no, they are also path. You remember that time when Swami Vivekananda came and he was talking about Karta Bhajas in front of Ramakrishna, and they are using in the name of spirituality, they are using the sensual fulfillment of appetite. No, so those types of things. And he was criticizing because Swamiji is a very idealistic person. But after listening to all criticism, after a long time, Ramakrishna said, "My child, that is also a path. Where they will go, those who are not equipped to take your higher spirituality, they have to start somewhere. And that is the starting point. Through that they will understand, no. Then they will go for higher. It is that, but you cannot criticize. You cannot make you as a standard for others. Everyone's standard, God has a place for all. So that idea, I think I got it from Premesananda Maharaj, even Vishuddhananda Maharaj, and also what I talked about, Sarodeshananda Maharaj. Or later on, if we think about Shraddhananda and others, of course, there will be such things. Hello? Acha, I am in the Zoom meeting. I'll call you a little bit.
So, Martha, is the idea that acceptance, as you mature in spirituality,
acceptance, you may not have. You accept, but you need not have to participate in them.
Yes.
You keep your, if you keep your integrity, if you keep your sanctity, or if you keep your own practice, but not to criticize them. Rather, you feel that, oh Lord, guide them in the right direction. You can be sympathetic to them. That's a bigger aspect of life. You can criticize anyone. He's bad, he's this. Oh my God, he's going through this type of spirituality. This is called spirituality. Why we criticize that? Not so that I don't become a victim of that. It's not my path. But I cannot say what is the path of others. I may like sattvika food. Suppose someone likes sattvika food. Someone likes rajasika food. It is fit for him. It gives his strength and nourishment. So spiritually also. All the paths. That's why Swamiji said, as many people, so many creeds. It is not, creeds are not problem. Not that number of religions is not the problem. Problem is that when you say my path is the only path, yours is wrong, I will cut your head. So there is the point. That is the harmony Sri Ramakrishna came for. And I think that also manifested to the lives of the great souls which we are talking about. All of them. So Chandikananda Swami, he told about his change in life when I talked about Swami Premesananda. After visiting that, I went to see him. And he said, wow, you went to Premesananda Maharaj? Oh, what a great opportunity. My God, you have changed your life. You do not know what you have blessing, you got it today. And then he said, I was a man who was fighting with the British to rule out the British government for the sake of freedom of the country. But it is Premesh Maharaj who pulled me out of that for the greater purpose of life. and put it at the feet of mother. And he started weeping. So this is no hatred for British government. Then that person who was trying to free the country, freedom was the country, but higher freedom goal, Premesh Maharaj pulled him out of that confusion and pushed it to Holy Mother. And he said, that's the thing. So I think that we should all, the students of Vedanta, all our monks and devotees should carry this spirit, that we may find something wrong practices, wrong things in different religious ideas and things. Okay. But I need not have to be like them. But I should be just not tolerate, but accept them as their path. That is the path they will have to go. You cannot expect that all will be equally equipped with talent, mental attitude, purity of the heart, good karma, good sadhana. Not maybe. But that is their sadhana. And through that sadhana they will overcome and come to the higher truth.
Swami, one last question here, then will be this. Is that many times you've mentioned in your meetings with these great souls, you feel you've been blessed, at least at the time. You said, what a great blessing, what a great blessing. Sometimes when you're in the presence of sometimes great souls, we don't recognize it. And as you said, sometimes you felt you're being scolded at times, sometimes you feel like you're being criticized. So my question is, as time goes by, as we start to age more and more, do we recognize when we start to think about the experiences we had or associations with these great souls? Do you start to see more blessings and blessings that you start to feel from their presence, the meetings, encounters you had with them? Do the blessings start to become more? Do you feel more? Do they start the seeds? Do you feel them sprouting? Do you feel more presence of what they did? Sometimes we don't understand why. Sometimes we meet these great souls and they feel like just an everyday encounter or even more criticism. So does that happen?
Yeah, I think, yeah, true.
They're blessings. You can't say blessing.
Yeah.
How do you recognize their blessing?
Yeah, that I said when Swami Suparnanandaji was scolding, I gave you a very little description of that. It was really, I came for getting initiation. I didn't do anything wrong. He started scolding me right and left. You are like that boy, reading, you want to go to see movie and run for seeing movie. Now you want to read novel, you go and get a book and read novel, and you read like gospel. Is it like that? You see, it is a shocking thing. I have no intention, and I don't do all these things also. But not knowing anything, and he started talking me and scolding me. But that was anyhow. And now I think, my God, see, that is a fact. Our search is not sincere. Sometimes we love so many things. I love also God. Love God is not my criterion. People are talking that, initiation is good. Initiation gives you prestige. I am an initiated devotee of Ramakrishna order. No? Everywhere you go, you say, I am initiated by such and such. In a society, there is a rank and position of that. So, are you doing with that? Or whimsical? Or many people get initiation, take the mantra, don't do anything, forget about that. After 5 years, 10 years, said, I forgot the mantra. That means they have not practiced it. So to make us genuine, the scolding was necessary. But that time it is difficult to understand. That time it is a scolding, mere scolding. So as we grow, then we understand that even anything happening now is also for my good. That concept will gradually grow. Every day you will experience that this bad thing has happened to me. It has a meaning. It wants to make me more towards God. I can pray more to God. When good days come, do you think of God? How much? But when some bad experience comes that day, it forces us to go because we are all dedicated to God anyway, and not holy or whatever. But blows give us sometimes, brings us closer to God. So this type of sentiment comes. This type of sense generates in us. Not that all the time, but it generates. And when you feel, then you will feel, oh, Ramakrishna, oh Ma, you are so gracious. Yeah, you are wiping out my bad karmas in this way. Huh? Sometimes you feel that you have not done anything or nothing, but you are facing a big challenge of what you have not intended or done. But then previously reaction would come, and is fight and reaction and all these things, anger and all nonsense. As you develop, probably days go, then you say, oh, no, Thakur is wiping out my karma. What a grace! Huh? That is the, gradually we find in the mystic poets, they express this idea. And all the old sadhus I have heard, my karma is going on, I'm happy, I'm suffering. People are, oh, you are suffering so much. I went to many sadhus and told, Maharaj, you are suffering so much. I said, what suffering? Thakur is gracious, taking away my karma. So I'm happy, mentally happy, physically suffering. This attitude will change. That is grace. And some may think that a vision and experience is, of course, it is spiritually enlightening, but that is not the only characteristic. It should reflect in the life gradually that whatever suffering comes, it is for my good is coming, to make me pure, to make me more stainless, no? And so that I can go close to God. My karmas are wiping out. So this is their grace, as much as it comes. And most of the time it does not come, means we are not yet absorbing those ideas, though we know everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Some resistance
inside is there. Our ego is there.
Yeah.
Our bad tendencies are there. Reactionary attitude is there. I. So, okay.
Wonderful, Marge. Thank you so much. Francis, I think Marge will have to do a part 2 because there's many of the Swamis you've met, and we'll have to get those experiences later on. Okay. So we'd like to thank Swami Sarvadena Maharaj for sharing his wonderful experiences and his reminiscences of these great souls, and also his humble teachings, learnings, experiences that he learned. So thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, and thank you, everybody. Sorry for our little delay in the beginning. Maharaj, can we ask you to give a closing chant and just give your blessings to all of us?
Who am I to give blessings? We haven't. Only God will give us blessings. So I pray to Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother to shower their blessings upon us, so that we grow in our inner spiritual life and try to understand the cosmic plan of this world and why I am here, why I am going through these life's troubles and turmoils, or happiness and misery. These are all for bringing us to the divine, close to the divine. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all. Again, Jai Ma.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, and thank you, everyone. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.